expert analysis and in-depth player profiles. Get the inside look at the game's future stars and players to watch. And now your hosts, Quint Kesnick and Dave Cottle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the FiveStar Recruiting Show. I'm Quint Kesnick along with Dave Cottle. Dave, I want to start out with kind of the goals of FiveStar. What is FiveStar and what are you trying to accomplish?
Well, we looked at Top 205 from years ago that we thought that was the model that was so successful for 25 years, but it kind of went away. So what we wanted to do is have a two-prong attack with FiveStar. We wanted to promote players and help them get recruited, and we wanted to coach the players and help them get coached by top college coaches.
What are the events that you guys are running right now?
Well, we ran a 2023. The first event was at IMG Academy in Florida. We ran a 2023 event when everything was kind of canceled with COVID. We had such a positive interaction with the kids that they wanted us to come back and run a second event, but we changed it a little bit with the Champ Challenge in that we wanted to have a winner. We wanted to have a championship. We wanted it to be more than just a showcase of individual talent. We wanted them to play together with a group of coaches and play for a common goal, winning a championship, and we accomplished that goal.
There's a lot of events out there in the lacrosse landscape. What separates your events from the pack?
Every player that is nominated or invited to FiveStar, we look at a film and approve it. You know, when Dave Petramalo worked for Legendary Sports Group, he went through YouTube of every kid. So when a coach recommends him, it doesn't get him in. He has to have the film to verify to back that up. And so that's the way the idea started. The other thing is we give the kids as much stuff as anybody, the helmets and shooting shirts and shorts. And, you know, we try to make this the best experience that the kids have had.
I was really impressed at the event during the summer with the coaching staff that you brought in. I mean, these are really well-respected, great teachers of the game. What impact does the staff have on the overall experience?
I think they have a tremendous impact because, you know, the 20 kids per team really spend most of their time with the two guys that are their coaches. And so if you have a good relationship with your coach, then you have a good relationship with your team. And, you know, we had two first-timers coach and win the championship today. Dave Sofkowski, who hasn't been back and, you know, hasn't coached in a long time, and Will Dalton, who was a player for him at Maryland. And those two, you know, they did such a great job with their team and coached the living daylights out of them. And for them to win the championship, I think was a lot of fun. In fact, both of them now want to come back for next December's event.
You had a nice mix of former players and former coaches like Don Zimmerman, John Desko of Syracuse, Dave Sofkowski, as you mentioned. His voice, his shrill, you can hear from in the middle of Bird Stadium. But lastly, from a player standpoint, when they walk away from this event, what do you think is the most significant takeaway?
Well, I think this 2023 class was hurt by COVID. You know, they missed their 9th grade high school varsity year, so they didn't get coached by they were coached by JV coaches when they were in 8th grade or fresh soft coaches. They missed that year. So we felt like it was really important that development of the player was something that we wanted to be different than just, we didn't want to showcase talent, we wanted to help develop talent. And I think with the staff that we had, when you listen to Don Zimmerman coach the way he coaches, as you know, as he was your coach,
yeah.
He's coaching from the minute he gets there to the minute he ends. And then you have some outstanding players. Stephen Brooks won a national championship at Syracuse as a player. He won a MLL championship with the Bayhawks. He coaches in the PLL. When you can put those kind of people around your kids, they're going to get better. And I think they did get better this week.
I got to meet some parents who, you know, obviously attentively watching their sons, you know, sharing in their successes, sharing in the excitement of this entire process. What's some feedback that you've gotten from parents?
Well, the parents were excited about the coaches and the relationship that they develop with their guys, that the coaches develop with their players. You know, we think one of the things that happens in lacrosse is probably the worst judge of your talent is your parents.
Yeah.
You know, so they need to just be cheerleaders and support the kids. The best judge of the talent is your coach. And so to work through that relationship, that the coach is the guy that tries to prod them and push them forward, and the parent should be the guy that it's the safety place to go after a game and cheer all the kids on and not count how many times Johnny got the ball. And, you know, I think it's a relationship that needs to be developed in lacrosse today.
It's all about five-star top defenders. Let's start things off with Aiden Bodani.
Well, I think Aiden's an outstanding player. I think he can play either close or long pole. I think he's going to be the #1 defenseman that people are going to be looking at. He's at Western Reserve Academy in Ohio. He had a great summer playing for Resolute. He's a guy that is, like I say, he has the ability to do either, and I think he's going to be a top recruit.
So you're talking about an eraser, a guy who can cover and then do more in terms of ground balls, transitional play?
Yeah, he and the next guy we're going to talk about, I think, are two of the defenders that are clearly better than everybody else down low. And I think Aiden, like I say, I think Aiden's an ACC Big Ten type of recruit.
Donnie Scott is our next defensive athlete, hometown from Kennesaw, Georgia, actually plays at the Hill Academy up in Canada, does a little indoor with a short stick playing offense, and then in field lacrosse, he plays defense with the long pole.
He's rugged. I mean, he's a big, strong, nasty young man who everybody in the country is going to go after. He has the ability to pick the ball off the ground. He can run through traffic. He can run over guys with the ball on his stick. And he's a down-low guy. And down-low guys, when you can get that #1 defenseman, both Aiden and him are #1 defensemen coming into this class.
Yeah, I love the fact he's being coached at the high school level by Brody Merrill, both indoor and outdoor. There's a lot of intrinsic value in having a coach like that. Our next defender he's more of a charismatic playmaker with the ball on his stick. It's Matt Christmas.
Yeah, I mean, you watched him this summer when they had the Geico Game of the Week and everything like that. And he's a guy that probably is more noticeable with the ball on his stick because he likes scoring, he likes shooting. He's about 6'4", 200 pounds. He can shoot at about 100 miles an hour. He can pick the ball off the ground. And, we found that it's hard to get defenders who can pick the ball off the ground. And the ones with charisma, we can always turn into robots.
So you can teach me how to play defense.
I can teach you how to
teach me how to get out of a pile with a loose ball and spin out and make a play in transition.
For me, it's been easier to teach how to play defense than it has been to have that charisma. I remember Brian Farrell, guy that we were around. He could pick the ball up in traffic. He could shoot it. He could score. I think he had 10 or 12 goals his junior year and his senior year. And I think Matt Christmas is one of those guys.
Our next defender is Parker Love. What stands out about Parker?
Parker's an interesting guy because he's a takeaway. He's a come-at-you kind of guy. He is not afraid to play the ball, and he's not afraid to get beat. He plays in the Northern Virginia area, and he's in the attack mode all the time. And, we can always slide to a long pole. He's a disruptor. He knocks the ball on the ground, and he's excellent at picking the ball off the ground.
Are there style issues, Dave, when certain programs are recruiting defenders? Do they say, this is not the right fit for us, or we can make this fit? How do you factor that in when you evaluate defenders?
And I think that's an excellent point. I think that, back in the day, if you were a takeaway defender, you didn't go to Princeton.
Yeah.
Because they were taught to have their stick and keep it on their hips and, and just not let a guy run by them. I think right now when we talk about poles, right now Virginia's kind of the team that everybody notices because their poles run up and down the field, they shoot and everything like that. And that kind of guy is Parker Love. He's that kind of aggressive. He could probably start off at a Division I school as a #2 pole or a #3 pole to get started and then work his way up.
Our last defensive player is Quentin Kilrain.
He's a guy that not everybody will have on the list because he's a glue guy. He can play the 2. He can play the 3. He can play off ball. And having a guy that organizes your defense and everything like that, those aren't the kind of guys that a lot of Division I coaches go for.
Yeah.
And that's why when you find a team with a bunch of takeaway guys, they don't play good team defense.
Yeah.
Now coaches are getting a lot smarter, and they're starting to recruit the pieces for the chemistry of the defense. This is a big piece. He can do a lot of different things, but I think he's a chemistry piece that if you're building a defense and you want to start giving up low numbers, Quentin is the guy you want on your team.
Yeah, he goes to Lawrenceville. It's typically difficult to evaluate that type of role. What I have noticed is the closer I get to the field, I have to use my ears. I want to know who the traffic cop is on defense. And then your eyes, typically, when people watch, they watch the ball. Well, watch off ball. These defenders, for me as a former goaltender, are gold. They hold it all together. They're telling, or they're the hot man, they're the slide guy, they're the second slide. I can't tell you how valuable that is and how difficult, though, it is to target that in recruiting.
I agree. And you just looked, Syracuse just got a flip on a guy who was committed to Rutgers, a kid who played for our 2022 team named Raleigh Figueres. Raleigh was a 2 or a 3. He's going to start as a man-down guy. You add him to Billy Dewan, who also played to us. Billy plays the bigger guy, and he's another great guy off ball. I think the key to Quentin's very like those two guys in that he turns a lot of 2-on-1s into 2-on-2s. His stick is always in the passing lane. They knock down passes. They knock it to the ground. And, which is very important for a guy who plays off the ball, he can get first-time ground balls. So I think you're seeing now with the multiple defenses, the crease slides, the adjacent slides, the combo. You know, they come from the crease, then they fill, or come adjacent, fill crease. The smarter those guys are in there to be that traffic cop, as you say, to communicate to everybody. And we all know that midfielders play defense because they have to, not because they want to. A good leader, a good traffic cop like that will get them to play defense or put them in situations. And just think about this. If when you have a bad matchup, you know you have a bad defender. You know, we always say KYP, know your own personnel. Well, you know you have a bad defender. A smart guy on the crease can communicate to everybody and get everybody in the ready mode to go.
That's right.
And that's why they're so important on a good team.
They make everybody around them better. In football, they're often called erasers, and they can erase all sorts of defensive problems that exist through communication, through being organized. That's a good look at the top 5 defenders from the class of 2023.